There you go. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I know. Fiked up here. Today is Thursday, October 24th, times 9:30 a.m. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Lead Poisoning Prevention Program for Alameda County's Joint Powers Authority. This meeting is conducted in a hybrid format, and members of the public can participate via Zoom using the link or phone number provided for in today's agenda. I'll begin by asking the clerk to please take the roll.
Director Hardy, Director Miley, Director Vella,
Here.
Director Winruff,
Here.
Director Gallo,
Here.
Director Bowders.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Now is the time for public comment. A member of the public wishes to give comment for an item not on this agenda has 2 minutes to give comment. Did we receive any written comment cards?
No comment.
There are no people present to give comment. Comment is now closed. Item 3, we have one consent item. It's the meeting minutes of September 26, 2024. Are there any questions, changes, alterations, amendments to those minutes? Seeing and hearing none, is there comment on the minutes?
Move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Comment is closed. Motion by Wengraf, second by Gallo to approve the minutes. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy, Director Miley, Director Vella,
Aye.
Vella I, Director Winruff,
Aye.
Winruff I, Director Gallo,
Aye.
Gallo I, Director Bowders.
Aye.
Bowders I.
The ayes have it. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. We'll move to item 4, which is the proposed 2025 JPA meeting schedule. And it is, excuse me, like too fast. It is not attached to my version of the report. Do you have? Okay. My only question is, members, do you have, before I call for comment, any questions on the proposed calendar? It is consistent with prior years, August having a recess, November and December being on the 3rd instead of the 4th Thursday. If there's no questions, I'll call for public comment on item 4. Seeing and hearing no comment, is there discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion on the calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Vella, second by Gallo to approve the calendar. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy, Director Miley, Director Vella,
Aye.
Vella I, Director Winruff,
Aye.
Winruff I, Director Gallo,
Aye.
Gallo I, Director Bowders.
Aye.
Bowders I.
The ayes have it. The motion carries and the meeting schedule for 2025 has been approved. Item 5 is the director's report. Morning, April.
Good morning, directors. How are you?
Fine, yourself?
Excellent. It's National Lead Poisoning Prevention Week.
There you go. Sounds like we're in the right place.
I'm going to start off with that, with some of the many activities our department is working on. In terms of media outreach, we do broad-based radio ads and PSAs in English and Spanish all this week so that we can increase the awareness of lead poisoning prevention and pointing people to our website where there are resources and information to keep their families safe. We also consistently have participated in the live Twitter chat, Director, where it actually brings a lot more people to our website and also brings awareness for that. We do an email campaign this year. It reached a little over 7,100 subscribers, which points them also back to our website where we have information and giveaways to engage them in lead poisoning prevention information. And also this year, along with the lead poisoning prevention messages, we also want to acknowledge the Indian festival season of Diwali and Dussehra. We augment our messages with lead poisoning prevention messages that are specific to that population, including food safety. Traditional foods are often prepared in the home. We want to remind families to ensure that their cookware and utensils are lead-free. For clothing and jewelry, some imported jewelry can contain lead, especially in children's items, so we encourage families to use certified lead-free products. And also, there's also use in this community of ritual and ceremonial powders, popular during these festivals. And so some powders like Sindoor and Kumkum, Haldi, and even turmeric should be certified as lead-free to avoid exposure. So we've included those messages in our Lead Poisoning Prevention Week work as well. Staff will participate in Dia de los Muertos in Oakland on November 3rd in partnership with Univision. This event is expected to draw close to 100,000 people from all over the area, and we thought this was an excellent opportunity to reach families with young children as well as CSA property owners to spread our message. So that's all the wonderful things that we're doing with Lead Week. Also, I wanted to let the directors know there was an article titled Toxic Inaction, Lead Funding Languishes as Residents Live with Serious Health Risks, which was published on October 17th in El Timpano. It's the first in a year-long exploration of lead issues impacting the immigrant populations in the area. They did interview staff and other community members for this article. It does highlight the delays in the distribution and utilization of lead settlement funds, the health risk of lead exposure and impact on vulnerable communities, and also notes that the City of Oakland recently signed the contract with the consultant. Will have until mid-2025 to provide recommendations on how to launch an equitable lead hazard abatement program, which would work in tandem with a proactive rental inspection program to put the onus on the city and landlords to address habitability violations. We expect that negotiations between the city and county will resume after the publishing of this report. We're looking forward to that in late summer, early fall. Elton Pano will also publish a follow-up article in November on health access and treatment in November. Okay, a few updates on our minor home repair program. We are entering into a one-year contract with the City of Oakland for $159,200. This contract is retroactive to July 1st, so we won't lose any funding there. Approximately 37 households will benefit from this contract service. We did request with this contract an increase in the maximum amount that we can do per unit. It was $24.99. It can go up to $3,000. So although it's still only $159, we still want to be able to address all of the needs that we're seeing in the community. Each year, we do, when we're going into these negotiations, ask for additional funding for these critical services, but it's been $159,200 for, I think I've been in the department for 24 years. It's been that way for that long. The waiting list is growing, the need is growing. At last check, the waiting list is somewhere between 18 months and 2 years for the City of Oakland. Looking into our fund development activities that's directly related to that need, we'll be submitting a HUD grant application for older adults modification to address some of the accessibility issues that we're seeing in this older population. That's going to be a $2 million grant. We're going to submit it in mid-November, and this will enable us to layer these monies on top of the existing monies where we see a greater need. So we're really hopeful we can get that money to be able to provide more services. And we're thinking that will be able to add an additional $5,000 per unit to any ones that we see in the community. And we also submitted a response to an RFP for Oakland Housing Authority to continue to conduct healthy homes assessments in Oakland Housing Authority units. So we're hopeful that that will increase our fee-for-service revenue as well. And that concludes the director's report.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the director's report?
Yes, I have.
Director Gaio, you're recognized.
Yes, for the public's information, when you communicate with the City of Oakland, who are you communicating with? And who's
communicate
giving
with
the
the-
approval at the city level?
Oh, in terms of the city contract for minor home repair?
Yes.
Okay, that was the last contact was Marshall Huggins, was the person that we were working with for the City of Oakland minor home repair contract.
But in terms of the amount of dollars that are being, who's doing that negotiation?
That was between our Assistant Deputy Director and Marshall Huggins. Is that what you're asking, like who's doing the
Yes.
negotiation? Yes.
And that money is located where now, to do what service?
That's minor home repair services in the City of Oakland.
But the city is delivering the county's delivering the
Yes,
service?
that is correct.
Okay, so we're just contracting with you
That is correct.
to deliver the service?
That is correct, sir.
All right. Now, in terms of the overall settlement with the the paint companies, who monitors or who approves those allocations to the different cities and residential?
So in
County
terms of
supervisors?
it's the Board of Supervisors has jurisdiction over the outside of Oakland money, correct?
So they have to approve directly before it goes out to the cities?
It's approved through our annual budget recommendation. They see it there.
Okay.
And they approve it once a year.
Point of clarification. So the two pieces of the county I shouldn't say county, the lead settlement funding, the county portion is appropriated by a recommendation we made to the Board of Supervisors, which they approved, and it goes to all the other cities in Alameda County. There is a piece of it reserved for Oakland, but Oakland also got its own money and in 4 years has not spent any of it.
Right. No, I understand
Yeah,
that.
so
But if,
we're still sitting also on your money because of that.
yeah, so can I get that information from you then? I want to see the numbers.
Oh, okay, so you want to see
There
let me
was-
just
There's a
clarify
lot
that.
of confusion and People
about,
keep changing, right?
like the total amount that was allocated?
Right,
like
just
the
right,
40
you
to-
know,
okay.
what was allocated to the city?
Uh-huh.
Where is the county support? Because we're trying to follow up that considering the emergencies we're having. We have new staff, and I wasn't even aware that we didn't have a staff person until the consultant was
Okay,
being out there solicited to tell us how to spend the money.
correct.
So I'll check in with you. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Director Vella.
Just to clarify, can you confirm the amount? I believe there was an amount that was specifically given to Oakland in '22.
Sure. So of the 23 million, 4.7 a check was written to Oakland in March of '22, April of '22. And then the remaining 9.5 was allocated to the Alameda County to serve all the areas outside of the city of Oakland. The remaining 9.5 has not been spent pending the final negotiation for the benefit of the citizens of Oakland.
And so the latest information I have is, hold on, to answer your question is, right now, what I was told recently, that now that amount has gone up to 500,000 because that money's been sitting in the bank. Okay.
I recognize Director Vella.
So my next question is, I believe we sent communications previously from this board as well. And there was a study or directive done, or an equity study.
Yes.
When we communicate the details over, can we attach those previous communications and the equity study? Because I think there's, to Director Gallo's point, there's a lot of new people there, and I would hate to spend more time reinventing the wheel, just trying to get people up to speed.
Okay.
My other question is, would it be helpful if there's another communication or cover letter from this board, this body, to help with that? Because I think, I guess my concern is sometimes when we're sending things over just from a staff communication level, there's still a question of whether or not the body itself, which has made recommendations in the past, is in alignment with it. Would that be helpful?
That would be very helpful from my standpoint, for sure.
Yeah, I supported, I mean, Mayor Tao stopped me at a public event recently and said she was getting calls about lead issues and problems at the schools in Oakland, and she wanted to know what we were doing about it. And I said, well, we settled a lawsuit with you, and you have $9 million that you haven't programmed or spent in 4 years. She's like, I don't know anything about it. I don't know who's in charge of it. So I don't know what the dysfunction in Oakland is so bad. I can't tell you how bad it is at this point, but it's bad. And so I don't know how many times us sending a letter to them will actually help, but I agree. I think it's fine to send a letter to them again.
Okay.
So
With the facts as Director Gallo, which is, this is what happened. Okay.
Yeah,
I think,
Clear.
go ahead. You're recognized.
yeah, I think if we could do it in a way where, I'm happy to sign off on it. I think that way I also don't want it just to come back to Director Gallo. I don't think that that's fair. But I think if it could come from a cover letter of sorts coming from the body saying, here's an overview, here's the timeline, here's the amounts.
Great.
Kind of, again, especially around that 4.8, almost 4.9 million, it's not just like the definition of what it can be spent on is beyond just lead remediation, but that there was the equity study. So there's ways for the dollars to be spent in alignment with that, and also to provide remediation can include a number of different things. Because I think that the more we can kind of put in writing and then staff can cite back to that, as opposed to having to kind of answer one-off questions, it'll make it a lot clearer and more uniform. And then again, it's not putting it on any one director to have to go and defend something to their colleagues.
What I'd like to do is call for public comment. Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, so we have this listed as an information slash action item. Do you have more director's report to give?
I am
So since we have action item, there's a request to give direction, I believe. Is that correct? It's to provide a letter. Would you like to state your recommendation for action?
Yes, my recommendation for action is that the board of directors sign off on a letter outlining the history around these funds, the utilization ability for these funds, the amounts that were previously agreed upon or settled, and any other communications that we have sent regarding these funds, any reports that have been presented, or if we can reference also links to previous presentations that have come before this. I think if we can put together a comprehensive package of all of this, then whenever any of us are contacted, whether it's board members or staff, there's a complete document to communicate.
Can I just ask for clarification on that before I entertain discussion on that request, which is, who would you like to recommend it be addressed to?
I think we should, I think I would be comfortable addressing it to the council,
City council?
the city council and mayor.
Further discussion, Director Wengraf?
Yeah. What about also including the supervisors? In the,
I would copy them.
Copy them?
Yes, yes, I'd be fine with that.
Director Gaio?
Yes, the other request that I'm working on, and I've communicated with your county attorneys as well as the administrator, is, we have an emergency with lead in the water issue within our schools. And I have a formal request to see if, whether it's the city support or the county support, to be able to contribute $500,000 to repair the pipes in some of the schools, from the climates down to the emergencies. And so I guess the question that I have, do I bring it through this body to get a recommendation?
I'll make a recommendation on that. That was the very reason Mary Tao reached out to me. I would recommend that the city of Oakland immediately allocate $500,000 of the $9.5 million it has to do that and fix that problem. I know they're waiting to do this equity study that they've talked about for years. They can still do that, but to take $500,000 now to make children healthy, I think is exactly what they should do.
Okay, so I agree completely with you, but it's a legal issue. No, this is for pain in your home, not for the water in your home. And this is where we get into the administrative concern or debate.
And I would say, I'm an attorney, I'm not the city of Oakland's attorney, but I do believe this was covered in previous presentations, and the language is, the lawsuit itself was brought on specific narrow grounds. The settlement itself, the settlement agreement does not reference limitations like that. So I think if we can, that's why I think attaching the comprehensive history, the agreements, all of those different things. I don't know that the county council can give the city of Oakland that sort of legal advice. And it's just that, right? Our advice that we get from our attorneys is advice, but any elected body can take that advice and question it and question the basis for it, and then ultimately make a decision, because it's an administrative decision and a policy decision, and that ultimately, that authority rests with the governing body, which in this case I think is Oakland. I will say that the 4.9 million is already like the city of Oakland possesses those funds, so there's nothing stopping the council from making that determination to allocate those funds, other than there may be potential that somebody comes forward and says, this is not specifically for a house, and this is not specifically for paint remediation, but I'm unaware of language in that.
She's still recognized.
I'm unaware of language in the settlement agreement that specifically restricts that, and I think that that's a question that I would ask the city attorney's office, is where that specific language resides, rather than having it be an interpretation.
Recognized now.
Okay, so that recommendation cannot come through this body. It has to come through the city attorney or the county attorney. Okay, I'm just wondering.
We can make a recommendation.
Yeah.
We can say, if I may, we can say, we think it is in the best interest of the people of Oakland, their families, their children, and your school district for you to immediately take $500,000 or whatever the number amount is out of your $4.8 million funds and immediately dispense it to rectify this problem because it is within the spirit of the purposes of lead abatement, which was the point of the lawsuit. I think there are two things that your city attorney may say. One is, well, we think it's very narrowly limited to being used on homes for paint issues, right? We can't change that decision and we can't override the advice that you take. I will tell you that our city attorney in the past, we've had 2 times in 8 years where my city attorney has said to us at an open session, I don't advise you do something. And I made the case to my colleagues that we should still do it because it is the just thing to do. And we voted 5-0 to do it both times. It's advice only. You don't have to take it if you don't agree with it. So we as a board can't, and county council can't compel you or tell you to do that. We can recommend it, and you as a member of this board on your council can make that case. I think the other issue is a procedural issue, which is your city decided to go forward with this whole equity plan, which I think is fine, but I'm concerned that the bureaucracy in that city is such that people are going to say, oh no, we have to wait for the plan, which on a personal level as an elected official is a ludicrous thing when you have a known hazard to the safety of children and you could immediately do something about it because you have money for it. I think you could run into people in your administration who say, oh, we can't because their mind is in the process block of, well, we have to do this equity plan. You could still do it for all the other money and programming all the other money. But to me, when you have children in a school who are potentially being lead poisoned every day and you have money to do lead poisoning abatement, you could just do it.
Okay.
Okay, recognize you again.
And I would say it's not just children, it's the staff, it's the
Staff, yeah,
teachers,
yeah.
it's everybody that is at the school site. So I think that there's a myriad of things that this body could do. We could give a neutral, we could say it's at your discretion. We believe that you could use this.
Yeah,
But I would actually recommend that we go a step further and say that we believe that this is a critical enough issue that this should happen, and that the most expeditious thing to do would be for the city of Oakland to make that determination.
Okay, so I agree with all that, but I guess what I'm asking for is the process. Do I write the letter and bring it?
No.
No, and so what I want to recommend
go ahead.
is what she's already recommended actually, is that we write the letter and that we strongly word it. And if it's of value to you as a council person, what I would be happy to do is also to press release the letter so that you don't have to be like, here I am flailing in the wind with a letter from this board I'm on that nobody else is on. It's like there's a public acknowledgement that there's recent media about it already. So there are people who take an interest in it and we see this very clear problem. And you could just go do this and it could be leverage for you at your board to say to your city attorney and your council colleagues, why are we sitting on our hands? We should do this. Our board is saying do it. Why aren't we doing it? So if that's helpful to you, we will write that letter for you.
But we approve it as a board.
Yes.
Oh, I got it. That's all I want to.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I recognize first Director Wingraf.
Okay.
There is historical precedent for this board taking action on water quality issues in the school district in Oakland. Several years ago,
2017, we did it.
2017, and I went and testified before the
remember.
school board meeting. And so there is historical precedent. We should reference that, I think, in some way in this memo that we're creating, this packet.
I recognize you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's more than just I think the testimony is part of it. We also specifically deliberated over it at this, with this body. I think, Director Gallo, my hope is that this support helps to, again, I don't want to ever put it just on one director. I think it's important that as a body, we stand behind the work and the advocacy that I know that you've been engaged in, so that there's no question about where this board would stand in terms of a recommendation publicly.
Can I ask you a question though? Do you have a committee inside your city where this is heard, or does it go straight to your council?
I can bring it through the committee process that I oversee.
What committee is that?
Well, I served on, we even have a education partnership where a week ago, Oakland Unified with their reps brought up the request. We need your assistance dealing with at least $500,000 to help us replace the piping in the schools.
And when does it meet next? When does it meet?
We meet every month, but certainly, I think what I recognize is the authority or the leadership of this body would have a great influence because it would, I mean, I need to work with you and your staff to make sure we're on the same page because they're going to come to you first.
Well, my reason of asking that is because I remember in 2017,
Yeah.
when we were on this board, and we had
Yeah.
Oakland Unified Schools, and you went because I was out of town to the Speak for Us. If you give me the date and time of this meeting and I'm here, I will go to the meeting, so it's not just you, and I will speak at that meeting and say, listen, I chair a board of cities that deal with this issue.
Okay.
You have money, like we agree, Director Gaio is making a request. We agree the city of Oakland should do this, and happy to just
Good.
be the heavy in that meeting.
Thank you. Definitely, we'll do
You
that.
just need to tell me the date and time so I can make sure I can go.
Yes, I'll bring it before the Life Enrichment Committee. That's where it belongs. And I serve on it and I'll definitely schedule it. And I'll get you beforehand, I'll get you the communication from OUSD, their request in writing, what it is, where and all that. Thank you so much.
Okay, Director Wengraf, you're
Yeah,
recognized.
I have a question. I don't know how it's structured in the city of Oakland, but is the school district autonomous from the city council? Yes. And so is it a school board decision to move forward with repairing the plumbing, replacing the plumbing?
Well, they
Or is it a
already-
city issue?
No, their staff has already delivered that information to the school board. And they're just looking for money
They
to
don't have
deal
the
with the
funds.
issue.
That's the issue.
And they asked me directly, is there any way that the city of Oakland can contribute out of the lead and the paint issue?
So is the school board lobbying the city council?
Well, yes, I mean, they're asking anyone and everybody if they have, because they need the money to fix the schools. And they don't have it from the state or the federal yet.
Director Vella.
I would be amenable to also copying the superintendent and the school board on the communication if Director Gaio is also amenable.
Yes, yes. And I'll forward the letter official letter that I received from their administration.
Okay, so I want to capture the motion here that was made. There's a motion to create a memo type of letter, not something crazy, but a memo letter that summarizes the history, the dollar amounts, includes in it a request and or a recommendation that the city of Oakland can take immediate action to support the school district and appropriate funds, and that it's our recommendation that they do that to protect the health and safety of children and teachers and parents in the school, and that we will copy the school district and the school of superintendent, the school board, as well as the county board of supervisors and the director of public health for Alameda County, and that we will include as attachments to that memo past documentation of things that we've done to discuss this publicly, so it's in a centralized location, that we will provide that to the city of Oakland, sent to the mayor and the council. We'll give a personal copy to Director Gaio as our board member to the city council. And Director Gaio is going to provide us with a copy of OUSD's letters and requests as soon as possible. Once we have it, we'll then draft the memo, so we know what we're responding to specifically. And then Director Gaio is also, when he sends that, going to provide me the date and time of the next 2 meetings so that I can let him know which one I'm available to attend. And if nobody objects as chair of the board, I will personally attend the meeting and to support the letter, the memo, and the request, and ask and join in the city of Oakland using funds to protect students, parents, and teachers. Does that adequately cover what your motion is? Okay, so there's a motion to do that over here. Is there a second to that motion? Okay, there's a motion by Vella and a second by Wengraf for what's been stated in the record. Please call the roll.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes and the memo will be written and submitted. We'll turn to item 6, which is the monthly report. Oh, you have,
Question, clarification.
yeah, point of clarification?
Do we have a timeline for when all of this?
The timeline for doing this will be triggered by Director Gaia sending the information we requested. We'll produce that memo within 10 days after that. That seems reasonable to everyone?
Yes.
So it'll be in our packet for the next meeting?
By the next meeting, provided we have the information we need, we will have it all in the next meeting packet. And depending on, would you know when in the month your board meets, that interagency board?
I have the city's, the district's information already in writing, the request.
Mhm.
I'll forward that to you, then I'll make sure that I can schedule the meeting.
Oh, so it's not a regularly scheduled meeting?
Well, let me work through the
Okay.
scheduling, but I'll try to get the item on the agenda for us.
Okay, so just meet with me. I'm going to go out of
Yes.
town for a
I'll work
week,
with
so I just want to make sure we don't schedule it at a time we can't. But that's the timeline. Is that okay with you, Director Wengraf?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the monthly report, what was the statement on the monthly report?
There's no comment for the monthly report.
Do you have a monthly report to?
Yes, we provided
But you don't want to present anything?
No, we were not
Okay.
presenting.
All right, and there's no public comment on the monthly report. Are there any questions on the monthly report? Seeing and hearing none, we're at future agenda items. Are there any future agenda item requests? I will just, Director Vella?
Just that we get feedback and an update on this, when the communication went out, and then also when the board, if the board meeting can also be, or the meeting and action be updated to this board.
Correct. So we will do a follow-up on this. It will probably need to be at the November meeting because most of us will be gone, so we need to do it before November 21st, I believe. So we'll have a follow-up on that by then and how it all went. So I would just note that we only have one meeting left this year. We do not have a December meeting due to all the changes on city councils that we're going to have, and the fact that most people won't be seated, and we set a calendar for them that starts in January. So our next meeting is our last meeting, which is, I won't give any speeches today, but is exciting and sad, but I want us to come happy. So we will have it here. Staff, do we have in the budget, as we've done in the past, prepared a holiday brunch or something? Can we do that?
Were we gonna do that, Lee? I think that we can use that money that we were gonna.
We're coordinating with your staff, Emeryville, to make that happen, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll invite everybody to come here, including staff from AC, HHD,
Yes.
to have we'll call it a pre-holiday brunch
Nice.
and farewell event, and, oh, it's okay.
Maybe later, maybe not farewell, just see you later.
A see you later event, that's fine. Happy Trails event. We will have a very light agenda, which will hopefully mostly just be an update on this last
Just be the
item.
update, yeah.
Yep, so we will not program other items on the agenda. Are there any other action items that we need to take by the end of the year?
No.
No? Okay, so we'll have a light calendar, and it'll mostly just be a day of appreciation for staff and the board. And that's it, and we won't put any items on to January because we'll let other people figure that out. Sound good? Okay, announcements by members of the Board of Directors. Director Hardy.
Happy birthday. Mhm.
Will you be, next meeting, you'll be doing a last meeting with the rest of us?
Oh, yeah, I mean, this probably won't take place, maybe I have
Well, you can pick,
like the first of the year.
yeah. We only have one meeting left this year, so maybe we plan it as a goodbye for all of us. And then you have plenty of time. Well, you're gonna still be here, hopefully. But you'll have time until the end of that first month of January for us to find someone new to put forward. We could have an agenda item for selecting a new community representative.
I have several young ladies in mind.
Great. Well, you've been doing this since 1989, and I will just say that I matriculated from sixth grade in 1989. So, what's that? Kindergarten in 1989. So we're not going to go over here. We don't want to. Malia and I know better than to look down this side of the table and ask you what you were doing in 1989. But just grateful for your service, and I think we'll just include that as part of our plan for the November event. And I'd like to also ask that we ensure that Director Brooks be invited to come back to that event. He's
On this
coming?
calendar.
Okay, great, good. So we're gonna have a good time, and we'll work together on bringing some great new young people to this board, hopefully, as well as to the community perspective. Thank you. All right, any other announcements?
Yeah, I thought you were running for mayor. You're not going to run for mayor of Oakland?
Well, I will just say, with that many generations of people, you're very kind to yourself when you're like, my mind sometimes strays. I'm like, I don't know if I'd get out of bed. That's a lot of children. Well, all right. I don't see any of the future agenda item requests. Are there any other items for members to discuss or announcements? Madam Clerk, the time is 10:09. We're adjourned.
Thank you.